Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of TC Talk. My name is Therese and thanks for stopping by. So I have an interesting trailer reaction for you guys today, and I feel like I just had to check this movie out because of all the controversy surrounding it. And if you haven't heard of this movie, you soon will. And I suppose I should start off by saying I didn't intend for this channel, which is mainly to be about movies and storytelling, creativity, all that stuff, to have a political edge. But I have a feeling that there are going to be some instances where I'm not going to be able to avoid this, if not for any other reason than the fact that art in itself, for a very long time, has been very political, and definitely filmmaking is no exception. And for those of you guys that are watching this or have been following the news around this movie from the United States, get what I'm saying? Well, all I can say is in Australia there are many similar parallels. So I may, it may take a few other videos to actually delve right down into that rabbit hole, but that is not this video. This video is all gonna be about the movie called The Sound of Freedom. So let me just pull this up. So even based on the name alone, you might see where the controversy lies, and also because in particular of the subject matter and the fact that it was released on July 4th, which is United States Day of Independence. And yes, I can tell why it would garner controversy, because the exact level and type of controversy comes up here in Australia every year come January 26 on Australia Day. So yeah, I can see where this is going, and I can tell and let me tell you that right from coming from an observer, if you guys from the United States are curious how you guys are perceived, whether or not you guys are perceived as the gun-toting like yeehaw America that just loves to blow shit up. Well, there are people that do see you like that for better or for worse, and this might trigger that imagery. And here's the thing, this movie, and I suppose the trailer, that's what I'm going to react to, is actually highlighting human trafficking. And of all things, that shouldn't be a political issue, but a political issue it has become. Before I dive deeper into that and the responses and reception and what the mainstream media have tried to do about this movie, however, let's just actually watch the trailer and see what we get.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's gonna pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time to a child 5 to 10 times a day. God's children are not for sale.
How long you been doing this?
12 years now.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
Timoteo, tú rescatas niños, ¿verdad? ¿Puedes ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana?
Te lo prometo.
We're Homeland Security. You know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Which means she'll disappear for good. Imagine walking into her room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do?
You quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
So at this moment, she could be a block down the road, or she could be in Moscow, Bangkok, LA. She's a major operator.
It's all rebel territory. No one goes in. Not the army, not the police, not us.
What if this was your daughter?
There's no Marine unit coming.
You're on your own. This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
When God tells you what to do, you cannot hesitate.
An estimated 2 million children are trafficked every year, and we can help them. Sound of Freedom is based on a true story about real-life heroes saving kids from the dark world of child trafficking. We know this is heartbreaking and it hurts to look at, but the first step in helping these children is hearing their story. Not enough people know this problem exists, and even fewer people are willing to do anything about it. Our goal is to inspire 2 million people to attend the film's opening weekend, to represent the 2 million trafficked children around the world. To spread the word, Angel Studios set up a Pay It Forward program where you can pay for someone else's ticket who might not otherwise see it. If the ticket price is stopping you from attending, claim your free ticket at angel.com/freedom. Sound of Freedom opens the week of July 4th. Every parent, every adult, and every teenager in America should be there to see it. If millions of us come together today to see this film, we could propel the movement to help save millions of children around the world. And you can send the message that God's children are no longer for sale.
So that was the trailer for Sound of Freedom. And first off, let me just say this as an Australian. Even the word freedom in itself shouldn't have a political component, but it now does, and it's now associated with people that are politically right-leaning. And it's fascinating because I'm still trying to grasp my head, around this. And yeah, so this film stars Jim Caviezel. And if you don't know who Jim Caviezel is, the last movie that you might have seen in was The Passion of the Christ. And right there, you might again see what another issue lies, because in terms and this is something that I sense as well, that the film communities, or whatever, Hollywood, whatever you describe it, the artistic family theater as well, has this really interesting, funny relationship to, I was gonna say religion, but it's primarily just Christianity they have issues with. Let's just put that right on the table, right there. And I say this as someone who was actually, I'm not actually gonna get into my own spirituality because that's irrelevant. But that was a trailer for Sound of Freedom. The response that the different journalists have been putting forth to this film has been nothing short of fascinating, at least towards me. Let's just have a look at some of the responses and headlines. This is from let's see, Variety. How Jim Caviezel's faith-based Sound of Freedom became this summer's unlikely box office hit. So they're making a very, very religious, and from what I've been reading, that actually isn't the main focus of this film, but they seem to actually want to bring that full forefront for some reason, even though the topic of human child trafficking really isn't, but maybe just because the actor and the person who's playing happens to be Christian. Oh no. Sound of Freedom, religious thriller led by Passion of the Christ star Kim Cavazo is becoming an unlikely box office savior. The faith-based movie about child sex trafficking has collected an impressive $40 million after 6 days of release. Sound of Freedom opened last Tuesday, and on this note, I actually don't know whether or not it's actually going to be released here. I will do my research on it. I'm actually quite curious about that. So, trading $14 million on Independence holiday. So exceeded expectations. It's one of the biggest openings in recent times for faith-based film. Is it though? According to ComScore, which counts this spring's Kelsey Grammer-led Jesus Revolution 15-month David breakthrough with Chris Spence and 2018 Owens Brothers musical drama, I can only imagine, as other top turners for me that cater to religious audiences. Hollywood rarely backs films that are geared towards this particular demographic, and don't we know it? But when they do, it's a sector that proves to be reliably turn out in force. I am curious to see how that's going after COVID as well. A similar crowd helped propel the low-budget Jesus Revolution to $53 million, enough to rank among the top 25 domestic releases of this year. Sound of Freedom looks to eclipse those box office returns in a matter of days, as long as momentum sustains during the week. Sound of Freedom was originally set at 20th Century Fox and was completed in 2018, before Disney acquired the studio the following year and shelved the film. It's now being distributed independently by Angel Studios, which recently released this spring's Old Testament-inspired His Holy Son and spent $50 million on the Cavazo-led action thriller. Religious and conservative media groups have rallied behind the film, which is partially crowdfunded. The Utah-based Angel Studios used other unconventional efforts to promote the film, including the app allows people to buy and then donate tickets. So you saw that in that sort of PSA at the end of the trailer, which was a pay it forward method, which is interesting. I don't know how big that is here, because the only other manner I've seen that is actually in terms of buying other people coffee. That's a tangent. About 2.6 million of opening day sales are earned through the pay it forward app, which the company framed as a way to raise awareness about child trafficking. Alejandro Monteverde, I hope I pronounced that name correctly, wrote and directed Sound of Freedom based on the true story of Tim Ballard Cavazo, a former government agent who embarks on a mission to rescue children from sex traffickers in Colombia. Mira Sorvino and Bill Camp co-star. Opening weekend audiences were very enthusiastic, bestowing the film an A+ cinema score. There's support for this movie from white conservative political groups, but the third of the audience is Hispanic, who runs the movie consulting firm Franchise Entertainment Research. Inspiration, action, and Latin American-based story arc are drawing a diverse audience, not just ethnically, but in age and gender. Critics have mostly been positive, have they? Which holds 76% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Variety chief film critic Owen Gilberman praised Sound of Freedom as a compelling movie that shines an authentic light on one of the crucial criminal horrors of our time, one that Hollywood has mostly shied away from. Sound of Freedom has also stirred up controversy, here we go, with detractors accusing the film of embellishing the reality of child exploitation and stroking QAnon conspiracy theories. Rolling Stone, The Sound of Freedom, yeah, there we go. Rolling Stone called Sound of Freedom, here's the thing, where is it? Washington Post. Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. So yeah, you heard that term, boomer. That's who they're talking about. Where am I? Yeah, QAnon teen thriller. One is designed to appeal the conspiracy adult boomer. Box office analysis says noteworthy that Sound of Freedom managed to crack the top 5 on domestic charts in heat of summer, time of year that's traditionally reserved for big-budget action tempos, superhero sequels, or escapist romps. So that is probably why you might have been seeing this talking about in a similar paragraph to Dial of Destiny, which is Indiana Jones, because that's, some blockbuster. The strong response to a faith-based film reflects a demand by underserved audience who are hungry for entertainment that reflects their values and beliefs, says Paul Digabadian, a senior Comscore analyst. Such content can indeed find enthusiastic audience, generate solid box office, impressive profits for their investors. So yeah, that's one. And as I kind of just hinted to, there's been really interesting other headlines. Look, Sound of Freedom, the QAnon adjacent thriller seducing America. Jim Caviezel stars as a hero trying to stop child traffickers in a paranoid new movie turning into a surprise box office hit, says The Guardian. Sound of Freedom, like I said before, is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. Sound of Freedom is a box office hit whose star embraces QAnon. Right, and that's important. Why? Exactly. The low-budget film about child sex trafficking almost topped the box office on July 4th, but its star Jim Caviezel has linked it to the QAnon movement. But what does the movie actually say? So, yeah. So what is the truth? I mean, it's a movie, not a documentary. It's not trying to. It's based... I'm pretty sure, like most movies and many biopics, they probably have, taken some creative license to some degree. I say this as someone who has not yet watched this movie. I don't know if I can, because the movie is clearly very, very heavy. But it is interesting about, the response, media and people have had to this film. And I suppose I don't know I'm not quite sure what the big takeaway from this is. Maybe there isn't. It just got me very curious about what happens when movies are made relatively independently. So as I said in this report, they made a pay-forward system, which looks like it helped. So it might be something, for independent filmmakers, that might be something worth thinking about. At the very least, it gives hope that things can be made despite potential lack of funding or being shelved. For those that have seen the movie, let me know what you think. So, yeah, I guess I should leave it at that. I just felt like this is one of the movies that need to be brought to people's attention, just because it was so interesting, and the subject matter is something that I think is worth talking about. But again, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think of the trailer, what you think of the controversy, if you have been following it. It's going, as you can imagine, not only has it been on journalistic social media space, but in social media in general. Definitely Twitter has been quite active in people putting their thoughts on that. But I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.